These are the plaintiffs, Maria Estridge and her daughter, Sarah. Maria says she brought Sarah's dog to the defendant's dog grooming service, and the inept guy dropped her dog off the table, causing her leg to break. The poor dog was in a lot of pain. She also had a deep cut, and all the defendant can do is make excuse after excuse as to why he isn't paying for the vet bill. Jeez. They're suing for $2,135.04, the amount they're owed. This is the defendant, Vincent. He says the plaintiff's dog came to him very matted, very agitated, and vicious. The dog bit the groomer's hand, spun his head around, and fell off the table. The plaintiffs told him they wouldn't hold him responsible because the dog was very old and grumpy. Besides, his policy is he's not responsible for any injuries during grooming. But they're now suing him? What gives? He's accused of gross grooming.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says the dog groomer dropped their dog off the table and broke its leg. But the defendant says the dog was vicious and the dog bit him and then fell. It's the case of I'm falling for you.
Maria Estridge and Sarah Estridge, you are suing Vincent Company, you don't want us to use your last name or the company, for $2,135.04 representing vet bills because according to you, while your dog was in his care, the dog fell and broke its leg. Tell me what's going on.
Okay. We had scheduled an appointment. He's been our dog groomer for the past 10 years. We scheduled an appointment. They came to the house. I was at work. My mother was home with the dog. They have a mobile grooming company, so they come to your house. My mother brought the dog down. Everything was fine. Half an hour later, we get a phone call. We think it's to pick the dog back up. And then when she goes down.
Who gets a phone call? Your mom?
I did.
What happened?
He called me and I said, everything okay? You know, and he said, I said, is she all done? And he said, yes, she's done, but she got loose and she fell off the table and I think she broke a leg. So
is that exactly what he said?
That's exactly what he said.
So what happens?
Yeah.
You come outside.
And so he said, do you want me to take her somewhere? And I said, no, I'll be right down. I want to see her. So I went back downstairs and he showed me, he said, see, and he went like that with her paw. I think it's broke or something. And so I said, I just took her. I said, I gave him the money for the...
Plus a tip.
Yes.
That's kind of unusual. Like if someone broke my dog's leg, I wouldn't.
I know. And I just paid him because, you know, that was...
Did he say anything else? I'm sorry, couldn't be helped.
Yeah.
Did he say anything? What did he say?
Yes, he just said, are you sure you don't want me to take her? You know, he did say I'm sorry and everything, but I just said, no, I feel more comfortable, she'll be more comfortable, and, you know, I just want to take her and I'm going to get her, you know, I'll get her.
Did he offer to pay the medical expenses?
No, at that point it was just
so then
quick.
you take her, and do you have the vet bills?
Yes.
And what did she have to have? Did she have a broken?
It was not broken. They said it was misplaced. And like out of the joint, and there was a deep cut, like an inch, almost to her bone.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's not from a fall. What happened?
The dog fell off the table. The dog is a...
How does the dog get a 1 inch into the bone cut?
Because I believe that she hit the table when she hit the floor. Because we have a table. She's on the table. She's on a safety noose around her neck, so she can't get loose.
Except for she did get loose.
Because she's a very agitated dog. She's not a very easy dog to groom.
Then you were on notice that she's not an easy dog to groom. So why wasn't she more harnessed?
Actually, we didn't even want to groom the dog anymore.
But you did groom the dog.
But we did groom the dog because my wife and her, she somehow befriended my wife to send me back to groom the dog when I asked not to be grooming the dog.
Well, the dog fell while you were grooming it.
Yes, ma'am.
On what planet would you not be responsible for vet bills?
Ma'am, the dog had a noose around her neck to hold her and keep her on the table in case she does.
Except for that, what you put around her neck didn't work.
Exactly.
Right.
Because she's
So
vicious.
you didn't use the right thing that would work, and the proof of that is it didn't. Okay. So if she's an agitated dog, and you know she's an agitated, I presume that you say your dog is not vicious, but if the dog is vicious and agitated and all the things that you say, then don't go back. Or if you go back, have the dog adequately secured so that something like this doesn't happen. But if it does, why would you not be responsible for paying the vet bills?
Well, my
Come on up. Who are you?
Wife.
Oh, there we go. Go ahead.
How are you?
Good.
First of all, we want to say that we are sorry that Abby got hurt.
He doesn't sound sorry.
No,
he sounds
is.
defensive.
No, I think he's just
I mean,
upset. No, he's not
The
defensive.
first question to
Your
me
Honor,
is kind of attacking
Yes,
me,
but
so.
but why wouldn't it be? If it was your dog and this exact thing had happened, you had sent your dog to the vet, and all of a sudden the vet's supposed to be holding the dog when the vet's examining, and the dog falls and breaks a leg. You would not expect the vet to pay for it?
First off, we were very sorry the dog was injured.
But you didn't pay for it.
I actually said, I will take the dog to the vet for you right now.
Yeah, but they don't want to go to your vet. They want to go to their vet.
I was going to take it to their vet. They
Well,
don't
then
have,
you would have
they
paid
don't
for it.
have a vet. They don't have a vet.
But whatever it is, you would have paid for it. So why didn't you pay for it?
Well, we would have paid something that would have been appropriate for the situation. But unfortunately, because she doesn't have a vet, she had to go to emergency room. In emergency room, we have the bills are outlandish for things that don't need to be done. The dog's leg was dislocated.
Like what?
My wife can go through the bills.
Yeah.
We gave you copies of it all.
Because that's what the vet, I mean, I don't deny that emergency rooms are more expensive. I'm just saying, who are you to decide what the dog needed when the dog got injured in your
Well,
care?
man, we've been doing this for 13 years. We're dog lovers.
How often does a dog get loose from the noose?
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't.
When the clipper, which makes a loud buzzing noise, I don't know if you know anything about groomed dogs.
All I know is I pay, she comes back, she
As
looks
usual.
great, she smells good, her breath is fresh, and it lasts about 5 minutes. That's as long as it lasts.
So the dog, when the clipper
And she's never come back with a broken
the
paw.
dog, when the clipper goes near the dog's head, she freaked out. She bit my hand, she bit the clipper, and she shook
She
her head
bit your
violently.
hand. Do you have any injuries from the bite
I
to your
have
hand?
scars on my hand, man. Yes. It happens. These things happen. It's part of the job. Not every dog is nice. Not every dog is gentle and goes
Yeah, but
to the
every
groom.
dog has to be restrained. If you take the job on,
Ma'am,
you have to restrain the dog sufficiently.
The dog was restrained.
Yeah, but it got out of the. You don't understand what restraint means. If I have my dog on a leash and my dog gets out of the leash, I violated the leash law. In other words, the idea is that restrained so that they don't fall off and break a leg. Why would they have to eat the bills?
Well, we did not say that.
You just feel that these bills are exorbitant. Did you make an offer to them to pay
They're
some of it?
absorbent and unnecessary. Well, I'm not going to say unnecessary because I'm not a vet.
Right,
okay?
that's the problem.
But
But
if she would have had a local vet that she could have went to, it
I
potentially
have a
would have been
question.
much less.
Did you guys offer anything?
We would have offered a reasonable amount of money.
Did you offer?
Yes, I spoke to her. Can I
And?
speak?
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I just also want to point out to you that we have a pet release form that we use for all our clients.
Did they sign it?
No, and I'll tell you why.
I presume that your contract says you hold us harmless for any.
Yes, but even with that said, Judge, if something happens and we feel that we should help out, we would.
All this stuff is irrelevant. I need to know, did they sign a waiver saying that they wouldn't sue you if there was
No,
negligence?
because she's never
Because you
never
can waive
home.
negligence.
She was never home to sign it.
Well, then that's your problem.
Yes,
you
you're right.
understand what I'm saying, right?
Yes,
Because if
I'm with
you
you.
had that standard contract that you make everybody sign, somebody gave you the dog, you could have had them sign it, you didn't have them sign it, you can't avail yourself of the waiver. So
Point
now
taken.
we're left with, I hire you to, groom my dog, and my dog fell off the table. I don't think you pushed the dog off, but who's going to be responsible for the bills? And what did they do that would mean they would have to eat it?
So what I said is, let's go to the hospital and let's see what we need to do. Right away, I offered right away.
What time did you go to the emergency room?
4 o'clock.
Okay, so this was not an after hours or anything. And the vet you went to, how did you get their name to go there?
From her text.
She asked me where
Just a
should
second. So she went to your vet.
No.
No,
I'm sorry, the vet that you told her to go to?
She didn't
I am
have
so
a
helpful.
vet.
I've tried
You're
to
so
do
helpful and you're complaining that the cost was too much but she took the dog exactly where you said. Let me see the text.
She sent us to the hospital and she said, okay,
Just
this
a
is
second,
fine.
please.
Okay.
She texts you, call me, it's an emergency. Then you text her, my mom is taking her to the doctor now. Who's that?
The pet doctor, which was not available because he closed early for that day.
So you physically actually went to the pet doctor?
My mom was driving there now and she said, he's closed. I've already called him.
Who said that?
T.
Is that true?
I did not say that.
Oh, look at that. All right, so I wish I had a tape of this
Well,
phone call.
I don't know why I would go to the hospital if the guy was open.
Okay, but I do see that you directed her to the emergency vet in Queens, which is exactly where she went.
I'll tell you why.
No, how can you complain about the cost of the vet when you picked the vet?
I did. Can I speak? Okay. So she said, well, I think the leg is broken. Where do I take the pet if the leg is broken? And I said, I think you should go to a bigger place where they can handle this right away so that
Did
the
you
pet is
or
not in
did
pain.
you not
Yes.
send her
Yes.
to the place where she took the dog?
Yes, and I also
How
told
then can you complain that the place is a ripoff?
Because I said to her, when you get there, please have them call me so we could go, I could ask
Do you think that a vet
And I
who
did, Your
calls
Honor.
you is going to do what you say as opposed to what the vet feels is medically necessary?
No, absolutely
Right.
not.
So then now tell me, because now we've gone from not my fault, vicious dog, to, well, I'm not saying we don't need to pay something. I just think that that's an outrageous bill, to the outrageous bill is issued by the exact place you sent her to.
They put, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this not properly, a catheter for dogs. I didn't even know they had that.
Catheter, you mean?
Yes, thank you, sorry.
Okay.
That's not
Well,
even necessary.
The dog
What
had,
they did-
what did
She had to
they
be put to-
do to the dog?
She had
Did they pull?
sedated.
What
She
did they
had to
do?
be sedated, and they had to make sure that she was capable of being sedated because of her age and her weight.
Okay.
So we took her to the hospital. These are the tests they ran on her. This is what they splinted her. They put a catheter.
Okay.
They, they were trying to keep.
anything from another vet saying, why, that's ridiculous, dogs don't get, none of this was medically necessary? Do you have any
No,
competing?
because they would have to see the dog, and they couldn't see the dog.
So then if a vet couldn't do that without seeing the dog, who are you to say that the dog got, oh my gosh, the dog is so cute, that the dog got, this a dog after the, whatever they did to her? What did they physically do to her? They sedated her and then they what? They shoved it back in?
They tried to set it, but then every time it kept coming dislocated, so they had to put a splint and all that, and that's when they said there is a cut, there is a deep cut down almost to her bone. So then a couple of days later,
Was
we
the
took her
cut
to
sharp?
another. Yes, very sharp. I think it was from when he cut her toenails and he cut her, and then that's when she pulled away and he dislocated her paw.
So, is the groomer responsible for the vet bills here? Because the groomer says he knew the dog was vicious when he took him in.
I guess it depends on the severity of the bite or the.
Well, does it really? If the groomer knew the dog was vicious, could he have taken more precautions?
Yes, but something happened to him.
Well, right, but something happened to the dog, but was it preventable and is the groomer responsible?
Yeah, he should have never taken the dog in if he knew that the dog was vicious from the start.
Is there another way of grooming a vicious dog?
Send him to another groomer.
No, there's actually an answer here. What's the way? Quickly.
Tie it down.
Tie it down, put a muzzle on it. Going inside the courtroom.
I know you gave him a dog without medical bills and that they returned a dog with medical bills. This is not a case of, oh, you deliberately hurt my dog. This is a case of, this is negligence. And so the only defense would be if they waived the negligence. And if the answer is, we are careless business owners and didn't get a contract where they waived the negligence, you have zero defense. $2,135.04, verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So Judge Millian awards the plaintiffs just a little over $2,100. The defendants are on their way out of the courtroom. Vincent, you had no defense.
Well, next time we'll make sure the paperwork is signed, and if something happens to the dogs, then we're covered.
Maybe the next time you shouldn't take that dog on if that's a problem.
That's a better option too, but we are dog lovers, and we run a business that try and do the best we can for every dog.
Good enough.
Including
Thank you
dogs
very
don't
much.
get groomed that often.
Okay, thank
Have a
you.
good one.
Now, here comes Maria Estridge and her daughter Sarah. All right, you satisfied now?
Yeah.
I mean, you got 2,100, not 2,800.
No.
It's not
But the thing is, too, is that she's been going to them for 10 years. If there was a complaint, this is the first we've ever heard that Abby, our dog, was vicious and was hard to handle. If it was the case, we would have never brought her there.
Well, you said
Never.
she has a problem outside your home.
Well, no, but she's never outside. She's usually just,
No, but I mean,
with
when
people.
she does
That's
go
why we
out.
call
She
a
never has
personal
a
groomer
problem.
to the house.
Okay.
And if they were not
If there was a
sufficient to
problem,
take
they
care of
should
her,
have
then
said
they should have just
something.
not.
Big question.
Yes, sir.
How is she now?
She's a little slower. It's hard for her to keep up with my son, and that's, their
But she's
buddies.
okay.
She's getting
just slow.
she's getting
Well, she's
along a little.
14. She's slowing down.
She wasn't acting 14, and now she kind of does.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you, sir.
it.
Have a good day.
Take your audience with you. Harvey?
Hey, Doug, real quick, these contracts you sign when you take a dog in or whatever, they can actually excuse negligence, where even if the groomer is negligent, if the contract says we're not responsible, that's actually enforceable. So read the contract carefully.